so much. Hi. Thank you so much for your presence, for your humility, for your existence, and for your ability to take the time out of your busy lives and schedules to be here. It took a lot, and I understand, and I appreciate you, and I hope from this experience something miraculous can happen in your heart and in your soul. Truly, I want to work from that moment, and the presentation will be in two parts. I'm going to take you on a journey of story, and I'll take you on a journey of visualization. And this is story and visualization is that of our journey as human beings, how we navigate life. I know we've all gone through so much since COVID and before that, and I'm sure you guys have had this angst or this feeling within your hearts where you feel like the ground is shifting beneath your feet, and there's fear that creeps in when there's uncertainty, and which, as we know, fear is false evidence appearing real. So I think one of those things that we need to start to think about as we go through this presentation, I'll go at a very steady pace, and there'll be accelerated moments, there'll be low moments, there'll be very high moments, so enjoy, take a seat, and enjoy the ride. I'm going to be using a platform called Mentimeter in this first part, which allows you to interact, which I'll actually love to interact with you at some point in time, just to get your points of views across, so we can truly kind of engage than me speaking at you. Then there'll be a part where it will be very visual as well. So the topic is designing your tomorrow. So when you think about designing your tomorrow, you have to ask yourself, how do I actually design my tomorrow? Do I design my tomorrow by looking through an hourglass? Or do I design my tomorrow by going to a shaman? Or do I design my tomorrow by taking a time machine into the future? You can actually do it now through the power of design. What is bringing us today is something from my culture called Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a notion from the Zulu tribe, or Zulu kingdom, for that matter, that is more of this aspect of I am because we are. I am Thokozani because of my community from school and my family from Zimbabwe and South Africa, but I'm also that of the emphasis of society, the unity and the generosity of spirit that we all share, common bond as human beings. The goal today is to really bridge the idea of story and visualization to us, to aspire and foster cohesive synergy approach towards navigating the undulating terrains of every industry that we are in the midst of, or the crafts that we're doing. And in this essence, there's this idea of symphony of ideas and actions that we have to really navigate and fine-tune. And this is where the ideas come to life and grow into the future that we want to create. What I'd like to ask is, I know it was a busy day at work, or you have assignments or deadlines, but empty your cup for the next hour and a half to really engage with you. It's not about me, it's about you actually. That's why you're here. And what I've done here is a sketch called the Field of Nests. The Field of Nests is a symbol or a symbolism around this idea of the ritual that we will share together, but it's a ritual of really identifying that every human being operates very differently. Even though you're in the same trade or same industry, the way you operate truly is very different. From your neural pathways, the way they fire, from the way you see images, from the way you eat your food, from the culture you come from, all those things can affect how you move into that future. And then you're forced into a space. How can those different things come into one singular space, and you learn to coexist with other human beings? And how you perceive furniture is different, how you perceive space and color and texture is very different. So these are things that are ritualistic of what humility is. In my own personal story, I come from Zimbabwe, originally from South Africa. Chaka Zulu is basically family. He's the king of the Zulus, and I am a descendant of his brothers. And Mabena and our family were known to be part of the royal family based on how the Zulu king and his brothers were in unity, and they were very strategic in how they did things. and in the way they did war against the British, and winning war using strategy with just basic arrows and spears. And then on the right side, you see the Ndebele side. That's from my mom's side. She's from the Ndebele. That section is more about creativity and about color and about vibrancy, which in my shirt, as you can see, we live that life from the moment of babies until now. And our mothers dress up this way because that's the pride that they have in our culture and our traditions, but also mathematics and geometry is part of who we are too. And in the middle, after the origin story, is my father, my late father, who died after I graduated from Art Center in 2017. That completely changed my life. That's why I call it a defining moment, because I never got a chance to say goodbye, and he's in the grave, but I still have to go to Africa to actually put a tombstone. But his death was the awakening for me, to become the father that I am, because at the same moment I became a father, there's the same moment when he ascended to heaven, I became a father. And with that, you get to see my mother and my grandmother, who died also, and my sister. These are the women that have played a pivotal role for who I am today, including my father too. And in that experience, we all go through this. There's transformation. So my transformation comes in the form of my wife and my beautiful daughter. And as you see the sun rising in the background, that is why I put gray in the middle of this defining moment, is because there was a little bit of a dark period, but the sun behind me is when those two women came into my life. It made my life so much better, much more powerful, and much more clear and defined. I'll show you some case studies of the work I've done and currently am doing. I work with companies that work on this aspect of technology and biometrics, and used by airports around the world to really create apps and software that can help identify people. This is during COVID. It's a project I worked on, and currently working on a project that is for the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, an app that was funded so that we can actually develop an app that can help people. So the journey is all about helping people. The journey is all about caring for people. And even the aspect of Aptera, I'm involved with Aptera from the points of strategy and innovation, and also what the next products will be. I've been involved with that to really help design the interior and exterior, but also the next vehicles that are coming as well. And Elro Airs is another project I'm currently working on right now, which is a type of cargo delivery vehicle that is going to be, that just recently got funding to be able to deliver payloads of 600 pounds for the military and Lockheed Martin and different companies as well. And the metaverse is something I was involved with when I was at Gensler, to look at the future of digital space and physical space intertwined together. And some of my Rivian colleagues are right here. I was very fortunate to be there in pre-seed, like pre-IPO, to help with the early stages to create the vision, and I'm so grateful to have worked with you guys to really develop the Rivian to what it is today, and you got to be much further. And HP as well, another interesting aspect of taking into consideration sustainability and taking care of Mother Earth, and everything that you take out from a printer goes out into the aspects of what a printer should be. And then identity. This project was about bringing different cultures in Portland, Oregon, from the Grand Ron to Africa to China to Korea, to come together to create a brand that brings the entire city together. So again, this is the idea of community and bridging the gaps, and systems through elevators, and even one-on-one is the current app I'm developing with a partnership with Meta, Facebook Meta, to really help wellness, which is a very important topic I want to discuss tonight. So this is something that you should talk to me about it later, so you can see how it can help you as students. But at the same time, it's very important to really, at a serious lens, look at how we function as human beings. And Instrument was another one, again, about unity. In a time that the world is falling apart, it feels like it sometimes, or is torn to bits, or is being pulled in different directions, synergy is kind of disappearing in the corporate place or in general life. or in relationships, or in schools, or in governments. But I think it's very important to bring that together. But in our talk tonight, what I want to go deeper with is this idea of the 8 dimensions of self. This is a process where I want you guys to kind of take part, not just me talking and you guys listening, but I want you guys to be able to take out your phones and be able to go to mentimeter.com and then activate this code 71103278, and we shall be kind of you're gonna help me build something that I'll give to you and send to you separately after this call, so that you can take something with you. But I'm going to be going deep into these 8 dimensions of self, which is mission, knowledge, skills and attitudes, behaviors, and structure. So when I go through Mentimeter, as I go through the slides, your phone will just automatically move in sync with what I'm doing. I will be starting with the first question. I'd like to start with that. Please do let me know if you do see this on your phones to make sure it's working. Are you guys seeing anything? Fantastic, cool. What I'd like you to do, just to spend, I'll put a timer on it and just give you exactly a minute and a half to answer this question. What is your mission and purpose? Compass bearing true north. Your mission or purpose is more like the compass that guides you to the right direction, no matter what. So I'll give you about a minute, 30 seconds. To give you an example, my mission and purpose is to create a world where there's unity, there's positivity, and there's purpose. That's my mission and my true north in anything that I touch. So think about that. Think about yours, and as you answer, the answers will actually just appear on the screen. So that'll be great. Wonderful. Positive influence. I'll just give you a little bit extra time. Help people. Wonderful. I see some answers around finding knowledge and practicing new doctrines, exploring new concepts. That's lovely. Very cool. With another minute, keep going. Be the light to those who need it. Yes, that's lovely. Find happiness with myself. These are some answers coming in. And then my mission in life is to create feeling of home and comfort as much as possible. Lovely, lovely, lovely. As you watch the timer, I'll be switching shortly. Make the voice of unheard, democracy and representation by design. Thank you. That's really cool too as well. Beautiful responses, guys. Being financially stable and acquiring useful skill that I enjoy doing. Yeah, that's very, very important. Help people around me succeed. Lovely. Well, with exactly 10 seconds left, I'll be getting ready to go to the next question. So we're about to wrap up to the next ones shortly. Thank you for your participation. Great. Cool. This is great, guys. Keep them coming. Fantastic. So now we're going to go to the next one. I'm sure you see your phones shifting. I'd like to ask you, what are your collective capabilities and mindsets as you think about your future in this world that's changing? Like, what frameworks or systems or operations that you use based on your original approach to life path? I'll give you an example. For me, my capabilities and mindsets or systems, I use a system of centering myself through chaos. You know, when you're in the eye of the storm, there's chaos, there's a lot of power on the extremities of the stone, but when you're in the center, it's actually quite peaceful. That's how I view life. It's no matter how intense it is, I have faith because I believe in God, but also that faith centers me into a very central point, no matter how much, no matter what is happening around me. And also my ancestral history of how they navigated uncertainty and war centers me as well. So that's an example. So, right, I know there are people from Korea, people from Germany, people from different cultures, from Egypt and France, and I think Cambodia, I think really speak to that truth within your hearts by participating and letting people see what you're thinking. I think that'll be an incredible thing to share. So yeah, go ahead. I'll give you 1.5 minutes for this one as well. And if you have questions, ask away, please. Are you all experiencing the same thing, or you good? You good? Perfect. Yeah. Roll the punches. Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes you have to roll the punches. Yeah. Then mindset lends to be a learner, not even in a teaching position. Yeah. The ability to support and encourage. Well, lovely. That's cool. Being in nature and being aware of the world. Wow. Cool stuff, guys. I'll give you 30 more seconds for that. And push through no matter what the obstacle. Very good. Everything happens for a reason. Yep. Because everything is a season. Cool. So you have about 45 seconds to go, so you've got some time. Life is unpredictable, so try your best to be yourself. Empathy is everything. I love that. Pressure creates diamonds. Ah, yeah, that's cool. And empathy is everything. That's cool. So there's 20 seconds left. Be self-aware. Always keep moving forward, no matter how many times you fail. Always keep moving, no matter how many times you fail. That's cool. It's amazing how two different people say the same thing. And I'm about to wrap this one up. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're off to the next one, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. The next question is this aspect of what behaviors define your origin story and culture and how you interact with others. As you grow up, what did you learn from your elders? Basically, it's kind of like the prompt, yeah. For me, the stories I was told underneath the baobab tree, which is one of the biggest trees in Africa, still imprinted in my mind, is when my great uncle was 160. Still strong, still working in the field, like he was like 55. He told me the art of self-care is the art of exercise, the art of movement, and that behavior for him of taking care of oneself helps you take care of your community. That's behavior, through that interaction with him. So yeah, you can talk about it from your Korean side. What did your oppa say? What did he say when you were growing up? From Egypt, you can talk about that as well to see what you went through. And yeah, I think there's so many stories you guys can share. So take it away. I'll give you 1 minute, 30 seconds, which is a fantastic time. Always be kind to others. Will be kind to you. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Take pride in your work. The bread of tomorrow is the same as the bread of yesterday. Just live in the now. Super awesome. Elegance and composure in the moments of chaos. Wow, that's quite cool. First time I hear that one. Farming and working together with the songs we sang as we worked in the fields. Who said that one? Who was the farmer in the fields and singing? This one here. Who said that one? Oh, yes. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, just when we worked in the fields, everybody had to work, and we worked very, very long hours, and even when we were little kids, we'd sing songs as we went through the farm fields, basically mowing and tending to the large acres.
Mm.
And we were so little, they put hats on us to go, because we were so little, they couldn't see us in the rows of the corn and beans.
Yeah.
We had a hat on.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
they distracted us by singing.
That's cool. That's fantastic. Thank you for saying that, sharing that, Deborah. Share that. It's a good story. And then the next step is the next question. Is what is the strategic design of your goals, day to day, year to year, as you navigate the unexpected, especially right now? How do you ensure you reach your goals when there's uncertainty, when you're not sure? How do you navigate that? I like to hear from students, I like to hear from professionals, from everyone. So I'll give you a minute, 30 seconds, and I'll give you an example of how I do it. Last year I lost my job when I was working with a company called Gensler. I went into a spiral for 6 months, lost my way, and I had no strategy, I had no plan, because I had my foot so I couldn't walk for 6 months. And out of that, I had an interesting moment of change and energy shift, which led me to look within to find who I am and how I can navigate into the future, and just through faith, but also through setting up intentional goals day by day, learning how to walk again, because I couldn't walk. And that process of learning how to walk again kind of taught me how to get out of a dark place again. And through faith and through community, unexpected things started happening, like me giving talks like this. I've done like 5 of them since August until now. Thanks, Deborah, for being there. She was there for the other ones. And that also brought about other amazing opportunities with work, in consulting and different things. But mind shift and process shift led to that. So think about that as you're answering this question. Yeah. A moment of vulnerability there. So be vulnerable. You have my permission. Nice. Making sure I'm taking care of myself before I'm at work or school. Fantastic. Finding your true goals. Wonderful. And I think this question is very important because I know in schools sometimes some students don't have food at home, or they come to school because school is a safety place, away from the chaos that happens at home. So again, with this question, I say this because I'm aware of that reality and the pain that some people go through that we're not actually aware of, but it's a big problem in the whole country and the world too. But yeah, some kids come to school and spend most of their time, like Deborah was sharing with me during dinner. Some kids come super early to school and go super late because this is the safest environment. So again, school becomes a place where you can really think clearly to set these goals and day by day away from the painful experiences that you experience. So yeah, I'm sure some of you have experienced that or are experiencing that. I can sense it. So just know we see you. Good answers, guys. Wonderful. Great. You guys have been awesome for participating. I love that. Shortly, we shall be heading off to the next one. Great. If at any moment you want to ask me questions, please do stop me anytime. You don't have to be quiet. Now, in this next phase of the other remaining 4 dimensions of self, of the 8, in this time of change as students, but also as professionals, because we always keep thinking about refreshing, working on new ventures, think about the idea of talent, competitive advantage, and then the systems and tools and information, your culture and values, and the process next steps. So I'll be going into depth with that. One thing I'd like to ask is, what role did you play in your field of study, professional or student, or lecturers? And what experience have you retained as you progress into the real world? What you provided and what you learned. For me, I went through a process of being an architect, being an automotive designer, and now being a UX designer. I learned that all those experiences are intertwined, they're connected, and everything I've learned from one actually plugs into the next, and it allows me to actually act it out in the work I do, but also act it out in my own personal life. How I manage my family, and how I manage my money, how I manage my investments, or how I manage my farm in Africa. You know, I have a huge farm with lots of cattle, and I'm running many things, and it's one of the things is there's a lot of management, there's a lot of navigation that happens. So I think, yeah, everything that you learn or go through is connected to your future too. So answer that way. Think about that. And if you don't understand, ask me away. Another minute, 30 seconds. Awesome. Mediator, being understandable, different perspectives, cool. That's a really unique one. Lovely. Love that. Feel of study has been life, and the experiences is everything. On the side of fear, I need to keep pushing through. Awesome. Always be open to change. Don't let go. It's all about the people. Always. Never quit. Love that. Be original and take references from pre-existing ideas to make it your own. Yeah, you don't have to always. I mean, Leonardo da Vinci came out with some new stuff, but sometimes you learn from nature, so that's kind of pre-existing knowledge there. By mimicry and conductor, there's none. You succeed by yourself. Yeah, devil's advocate for sure in some instances. Thanks for that one. Okay, 10 seconds to go. So we can go on to the other one. To go to number 5. Cool. Thank you for that, guys. The next one is, what tools and technology do you utilize as we think about that future self or that future life here in design? What are you actually using right now? For me, I utilize AI to accelerate my process of thinking multi-dimensionally, because I work on so many different aspects of architecture, automotive, and UX. So I use the fastest tools to be able to get to the solution, but I spend a lot of time in research mode to understand and to listen. And that's the great thing about those tools, is they give me more time to really get to the root of the problems without rushing through it. And so that's interesting to see what you guys think. What do you do with all the speed that's happening with technology? That'll be interesting. Neuros, human AI, cool. Good combination. Help both technology and multitasking. Mostly Adobe Acrobat. Okay, cool. Awesome. High application active for 3 models. Figma and AI. Haha. That's a good combo. Autodesk and Maya. Cool. Give you like a minute for this one. Going. Very good. You guys are going quite fast. We've only been here for 30 minutes. So that's great. We're even past the halfway point now. Very good. Wonderful. Are you guys excited about AI?
Yeah.
Interesting. From my perspective, some phrases are like, hell no. Which is fine. I'll say I'm 50-50 because we need to still be human in some aspects so we can really do things that can feel. Yeah, it's just a tool. It's not the end all, but it depends, right? Exactly, yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks for that, guys. What are your belief systems, rituals in your origin story, looking back at your lives? I think, what just happened here? Yeah, so what are your belief systems, rituals in your origin story, looking forward? So far, there's 3 responses that came before I did. I'm sure that was AI, just kidding. But if you're able to answer this question, let me know or not. But this is to do with also my rituals. The ritual of, I have a ritual of walking in the forest without shoes to get planted in the ground. I go, because I live in Oregon, so it's easy to do that. And I can feel it's wet, but it's also perfect because I can really feel the energy of the trees because they're alive. And letting the rain fall on me, and when it's snowing, I just walk outside without shoes. It's cold as hell, but it's okay. It's something that I really do to get planted. That's a belief system and ritual. And then also being intentional about reaching out to friends and checking up on people. It's another thing I do to really make sure people are okay, that I care about it around my community. And because people are hurting out there, people are going through a lot. So sometimes that call makes a difference, and there's ethics around that to make sure that I'm there for people, but also being there for my daughter to make sure I'm the best dad she can ever have. That's a big thing I do as well. So yeah, that's an example. And meditation, yes, there you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll keep adding seconds each time to give you more time. Should we do 30? That's better. Wonderful. So we have 1 more to go. Good participation, guys. Focusing. Wonderful. Positive affirmations. Great. Tuning to the universe. Saying goodbye to people I love. Very good. Well done. Okay, we have 6 seconds to go. And Karabashka. Next one. Next question is, what are the acceptable processes and ways of navigating through life as you look into your future in time of uncertainty? One way is to live in the present, or being present, or watching the sunset. And another way is really understanding the trends of not just design or technology, but also the trends of cultures. Cultural trends is what I call that. Also, that's what I do. And then I measure cultural trends with experiential trends, and then also with business trends to see how does culture and experiences and business work together. That's what I do as I navigate through life. And then also, at the end of that is wellness. What are the wellness trends? What does wellness mean now versus what it could mean in the future? What has wellness taught us in the past? Sometimes we have to look back to go into the future. So that's an example of what I would do in this question, in this final question, I would say. So fire away, which you're doing a good job of. Projects, fantastic. Don't suffer pointlessly. Letting go of the past while sitting. Still learning for next. Very good. That's a good one. I'll give you 30 seconds for that. who say don't suffer pointlessly. Why?
Well, back in my past, I kept wrapping myself up in I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I ended up getting wrapped up in a bunch of things that I wasn't really invested in. I was going through the motions, you know? It's not something that I'd like to do again.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. I was vulnerable with you. Appreciate that. This is some really good points, you guys. When you arrive at the fork in the road, pick it up. Love that. And let go of the past while still learning from it. That's good. Thanks for that. I thought someone was clapping in the walls. And I think the next question is, what is a lesson or a piece of advice you wish someone gave to you? One is life moves on no matter what happens. But for me, my grandmother, when she died on my birthday, she said, my sweetheart, I'm leaving Earth. I've lived long enough past the point I thought I would survive. But I want you to love yourself, be kind to yourself, because if you take care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of the world around you, and be genuine, be honest, and be real, and then the energy you send out will come back exactly the way you give out. That's what she told me. We are made of 70% water. The water is alive sometimes. We believe that in Africa it's a living organism, but it's part of us. And but it's also interesting to see how the energy that we send out comes back, and there's a lot of studies behind that, and I think that's quite interesting to know. So yeah, think about it too. What's the piece of advice that your opa or kulu or papa or oma, there's different languages, and that have expressed that to you. So, oops, sorry, did I do something? Oopsie daisy. I got too excited, guys, sorry. Okay, here we go. Answers. Great answers, you guys. Shall give you 10 seconds for that. Nice. Thank you for that, guys. Now, I'm going to go to the final stage of our presentation. I did this drawing to really look at the blueprint of life, and this drawing doesn't represent one person, it represents kind of everyone, but I went back to the basics to be looking at us as human beings. But I'd like to thank you for what you just did just before this. It was really great. Thank you for that. You don't have to do any more input anymore. Now it's more kind of taking you on a journey for the next 30 minutes. Is this aspect of, it might be less than that, but I did this blueprint to really look at life from 0 to 100. I know if you recall me talking to you saying my grandmother lived to 106. She lived 6 years past this point. So she's quite an interesting litmus test. But what you see in life is two things. Your mother and father, or father and father, or mother and mother. Or dad or single mom, They are polar opposites typically. That's what brings them together, they attract. And that attraction, each of them brings a sense of security, a sense of culture, faith and belief system around them. And as you keep growing in this journey, because you start to see that they come together and then a baby is formed. That's 0, which is the age of 0. And they start crawling and then they start walking. But what you should understand about this relationship is that there's positives and negatives that happen along this journey. Each family's got its own experiences. But life is never a straight line from point 0 to 100 years old. So much happens, right? So much happens, ups and downs. So you'll see on the horizon plane of numbers is literally the central point where everything is stable. Up is positive, down is negative. So the dip is the negative theory that we go through life, but the up is where things are going great. But you are this child, for example. And as the numbers increase, that's your age increasing. You get to the age of 3, life is good, you learn to talk, your parents see you progressing, they get excited. Then what I get to hear from doctors when my daughter was now 6, I was told between the age of 3 and 4, is she wants to kill herself. I'm like, what do you mean by that? It means that kids just want to run over the edge without thinking about the danger that's beyond the edge. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they really want to kill themselves. It means they want to just run without thinking about the conditions of what will happen if they go over the edge. But our relationship of falling starts early, and we're drawn to it for some reason. But now, when we're adults, we fear it, right? But when we're kids, we don't really understand what it is. And at that age, the anatomy of being a child is that you take risks, and you have no fear. So you have no false evidence appearing real. It just is not. You're just so pure. You're just going through it. And again, as you're doing this, it's scary for the parents, that's why it's in a dipper, but there's an influence of positivity and negativity as you do this. And then as you keep going with this dipper, you keep going up, you get to learn to read and to write. It's an interesting and fun experience, but also could be negative for some people because of either learning disabilities or so many factors. That's why I can't look at the entire world into one sketch, but I'm trying. And it usually happens around this age. That's where my daughter is right now. She can read, she can write, which is awesome, but some other kids are struggling. And that's understandable because everyone's different. And as that goes to a sense of confidence, then maybe a dipper happens again, where they go down to 9 and 10 years old, or 11. You all probably went through this at some point in time. You start to think about, who am I? There's positives and negatives, because when you're trying to define who you are, you look at your peers, you compare yourself to them. Your teachers have a huge influence, team sports, learning to be in a team sport or not, or you're involved in play or drama or music, but your parents are a huge positive or negative influence when you are in this very vulnerable state of trying to define who you are from 9 to 10 to 11 years old. This is early childhood development, yeah. Then you go up again, because you go through these fun years where you're like, okay, now I have an idea, I'm going to really experience it, but there'll be ups and downs, but you'll still be up in the positive stage, right above the horizon plane. Then all of a sudden, 13 and 14, when you start to really slam the doors in your mom and dad's face, everything just goes to a spin. There's love and hate, there's negative and positive stuff, but there's a complex emotions here, because this is where you really learn your emotions are coming in, whether you're, depending on what culture you come from, what environment you're coming from, it influences this. So the environment influences you, but these complex emotions, you're still searching, but you're also experimenting now, you're trying new things. And there'll be heartbreaks with love too that happen here, because you start to learn how to fall in love, or maybe earlier, some people early, just depends. Then you go up and up and up to the sense of lens eye, to really, your hormones are crazy by the way in this time. So I didn't go deep into this because I'm like, this way is tricky for a lot of people. And you get to see the lens eye to see who am I? Your peers, your teachers, your sports, and your parents happens again at a higher point. You start to really see like, oh yeah, I belong to this team. I know where I want to be. I want to be with this clique and everything, but this is now you're deciding for college. Where do I go? Who am I? At the crossroads, you could go any direction and end up wherever you need to end up. But what tends to happen, and this is the point where I came to America. I was 18 when I came to America. This is exactly what happened. But I'm sure it happened to you guys at different stages, but it's something similar. There's a seismic shift that happens as you're about to go to college or taking a year out. And this seismic shift of life, as we know it, there's things happening around you, like global warming, say we're in this current state for people at this age. There's war, now there's AI, there's mental health. Those things can drastically affect you positively or negatively. Also ask questions, do you like AI? But when you go up, you start to see that, okay, with all the things that are happening, I can still find a sense of freedom. I can take risks in this day and age, but I have gratitude because now I really appreciate what mom and dad went through or put up with me. And I have some sense of freedom. I can go to college, or I can not go to college and travel around the world, or not. Or you're in a village where poverty is so intense, you already have to be an adult very quickly, or you already have started being an adult since the age of 14. It's so different for everyone. And then in this stage, you start to learn, grow, experiment, and take risks again, but in the form of travel, trade, college, or skill. Whatever you choose to do, it's really interesting here. And then you take the Big Dipper again. Like, this is exactly the time when my father died. It's an experience that some people go through earlier on or later on, but you start to understand death, and also you lose your job, which you're not really trained to in school to know what that means. And you don't know how to deal with it. That's why it's at the very bottom, because it's a positive or negative experience, depending on how you deal with it. And it goes up and up. You're at the age of 30, as an example. You get to the point where you're really starting to see like, oh man, I need to settle down, or I need to really have some assets to really build my life. And you start thinking about, what is my way, what is the ladder? What ladder am I trying to climb up to? Whether it's positions or roles or titles, whatever it is. This is, you've had enough experience to become higher, or you're still trying to figure out who you are. And that ladder could be up, you could go up the ladder or down the ladder. It doesn't, it's just very different. And you start to really see things from a microscopic lens or from binoculars, far sight. Because now you've perspective, you've seen enough. You want to kind of have an anchor now. But this is when your heightened sense of spiritual intelligence is high, emotional intelligence is high, human intelligence is high. Then artificial intelligence is at the very bottom, because it's going to be sort of part of where we are now, but it's still at the bottom. It's still not transcending us yet at a deeper level, but the spirit first, the emotion, then the humanity comes first. Then you start to realize, oh, crikey. Around this one thing that I am is a sense of, you're centralized, but there's a sense of decentralization there, which could mean there's things that branch off away from one thing, or they feed into one thing, which is sort of centralized, but there's a sense of community, a sense of self. You start to really think about that. You see, I've not had the age group, because this is where a lot of things happen, of self-reflection. And that Ubuntu aspect of I am because you are starts to become very clear. I bring this very specific point here to light, is that I've noticed something coming from Africa. How culture is in America versus how it is in the rest of the world, like China, India, and Africa, and Spain, and all the other countries, Egypt and France. And I feel like America is sort of the global village where different cultures come and integrate together and learn to live together. Some with friction, some with not, but they just find a way to live together. But what I've noticed is when you are in college, you notice something very interesting. You noticed how some people like to be alone and some people like to work together. What that means is that there's an aspect of, when we're talking about together, I will give you a story about that one. I went to Art Center, and what I noticed about Art Center, which was incredible, I still admire that today. I had a lot of my friends from Korea, and what I truly learned about the community is that they really took care of each other. No one was left alone. There was a sense of unity. I'm using that one example. And in that 5 years of school, they would either share food, they would work together, help each other. If one is down, they'll lift that person up, and then be able to say, okay, how are you doing in your financial point? How are you okay with knowledge? Are you up to speed with your assignments? Or let's maintain our culture together. Do you feel safe? It's like a sense of safety, and that comes with that. And then I call that centralized Ubuntu, where they have to come together in a central point, but everyone is feeding into this thing so that everything is balanced. And what then happens is when they leave school, there's a community of connectivity where it becomes a decentralized community because everyone has to go off and work and build their lives. But there's a sense of balance there where some going to tech, some going to health, some going to wellness, some going to design, some going to AI technology, some going to business. Salary goes up. But when that goes up, that decentralized Ubuntu, everyone is benefiting from each other and they're lifting each other. I would say that the same for the Indian community. I've seen that happen. One guy comes to America, buys a house, 5 other guys come, they live in the same house, they help him pay off the house in 5 years. Amazing. And when they help him pay off the house, there's a way, a transaction that happens that allows everyone to actually have enough money to buy their own house because that person helped them potentially get jobs in other companies, which is amazing. I think it's incredible. But then, on the latter, there's experiences I've seen where in a culture where everyone is about me, not about us, what it looks like to be alone looks like this, where you're alone, you go through school alone, you navigate alone, you go through that age from young to 18, you don't learn about what community means, but you learn about what me is. Me. The zero value of that becomes $0 because when opportunities disappear, and you have no community, you're dead in the water. That's why mental health is so high for people that fall in this region compared to people that have that support system. And I was one of the only African students in that center, but I was welcomed by the Indian and the Korean community. They made me one of them, and I benefited from that. So I'm giving you an idea. I learned how to speak Korean too, and amazing, you know. And then I'm just showing you this authentic story to let you understand what that means. But as you think about this, you have to really understand that life gives you what you want, but it gives you what you need if you're willing to see the details. And it's all about the 6 elements of change where you have control. So if you take up the word part, what change is control, how you accept newness, growth within empathy. So you have to have empathy in groups, empathy in yourself to be able to really connect. And then it goes into this aspect of knowledge. Is the fear killer? The more you know, the more you are fearless. That's why in a collective, you have more knowledge from different sources feeding into that one thing than if it's just you won't have enough knowledge because you just have you. And then knowledge is the fear killer. More than you know, the more you become more fearless again. And as you go up, it starts to be that story of our parents are polar opposites. Why? Because you are now the parent. At the stage you become the parent, and that cycle continues. It continues forward, and it's the same cycle as you saw me doing before. But what you need to understand is, that child became a parent, and now they become a parent, but they have to go through the cycle that our parents are going through of, 40, body slows down, health is positive and negative depending on exercising and your food diet and everything, and how you take care of yourself. 50s, midlife right there, and then 60s, and then 70s. Time is, is good, but time is gold, so time becomes precious the more you spend with the loved ones. 70 to 80 to 90, see how I skip because a lot of things happen. Then eventually you go to heaven, so ascension. So you start to really go to heaven. So this overall story here is something I would like to encourage all of you to take a moment, instead of journaling in a book over many pages which you just don't get to see how they all connect, try to do this. In my job loss last year, in August, then turning my life around completely, I did this, and it truly made me connect the dots going forward. And because of shifting the energy brought things back to me, like that. It's like magic. It's you all have the power. So if you can really visualize your life in one page, not in a journal with many pages, just one page. Just take the exercise. I did that this afternoon with some students. It was so much fun. They were able to really see the symbols that came out of it, which then made them realize, wow, I can go to a job interview and just show one page and say, this is who I am, and then they'll be like, wait, why are you so different? Because you are deeper than that. And so I really like to encourage all of you to really take the time to take care of yourselves. Have a community, I beg you, have a community. If things are not strong at home or not good at home, find a community of people that are not even your family by blood, but they become your family by life. Come to America as a refugee, leaving everything behind. I've so many brothers and sisters, you know. Pierre will tell you, and you know, and Karen will tell you, and like everyone will tell you that, and Elim will tell you, and everything that I've gone through, and Thomas will tell you as well, is all about, I find family in people that are not even from my tribe, from Korea, from France, you know, and from China, from India, from Egypt, you know. It's this aspect of when you have community, you have knowledge, you have power, and fear becomes false evidence, not appearing real. You know, you start having power to really navigate this. Because life is getting harder. You know that it is. You can feel it every day. You see the news or you don't. But more than ever, the more we are Ubuntu, the more we're close together, as a message from my grandmother, the more you're closer together, the more the darkness actually evades, the more the light actually shines. So you need to really be centered in the storm, which we're all going through together, of uncertainty, but also certainty. And it comes from us. We are the light. And I'm just a little tiny grain of sand in the desert, and so are all of you. And I would hope that when you walk away, you can spread the message to your loved ones and love yourself and take care of yourself. So yeah, that's my gift to you and my message to you. And I have faith in all of you. I don't know some of you at all, but I can see your auras, I can see your energy. I think you're receiving. And yeah, now it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions.